While working through the Norton Commando to get it ready to try it on the road again, I realised that the gaiters that I bought have just rotted. That's the only way I can put it. They are splitting, even though I have some spray developed by the military to protect rubber and by the aviation industry. The spray is called 303 protectant, and it is designed to protect rubber, especially from ultraviolet ultraviolet damage, like this has been caused, which is, it's just absolutely rubbish. So I bought another pair of gaiters from a different company, and what I shall have to do is take the caliper off, take the wheel out, or take the mudguard off, take the wheel out, one way or the other, take each fork leg out in turn, take the gaiter off, put a new gaiter on, and then put it all back together. I have released the clips that hold the gaiter in place. I shall loosen everything before I take the fork leg out, because of course it's held at the moment. And the first thing I'm going to do is take the brake caliper off. I'm going to have to take the bracket off as well. And that comes off, and I'm going to tie that up using a tie wrap to the tank mounting position on the frame, so we don't strain the brake hose at all. Okay, so yeah, so I now need to actually, these are held on with bolts, grade 8, I think they're grade 8, yeah, grade 8 bolts. So I need to go and get some spanners to take those off while I can still, well, it's still held together. I have removed the caliper and the caliper bracket. I'm just debating with myself whether I need to actually drain the oil or whether I can get away with keeping the fork leg upright. I think the next thing is to take the wheel out and possibly get the mudguard off without taking the wheel out initially, but it would be easier to get to the nuts on either, or the bolts on either side with the wheel not there. So I need to actually put a jack or something, axle stand, something under the front of the engine to make sure it all doesn't go pear shape on me. I have propped up the front of the engine on the Norton Commando with a stand that is designed to actually hold up motorcycles. It's not a very stable device, but with the main stand and the back wheel on the floor, it certainly makes the bike pretty rigid. Having released the pinch bolt and remove the big nut on the caliper, disc brake side of the wheel. You can then pull the axle straight out. I put the axle back into the wheel because it holds the spacers, as one either side of the wheel, in place on the wheel, so I know where they came from. And the next step is to remove the mudguard. With the brake master cylinder loose and using a special spanner that came with the Lansdowne kit, so you can take it out. I can actually release the top nut, and I've tied the rev counter to the handlebars so that it's not straining the cable too much, and the control shaft comes out. It's just a simple shaft with a needle on the end that you can adjust the damping. We should briefly discuss the modified forks with the Lansdowne damping system. You saw that it's basically a long rod, and they are adjustable using the Allen screw hole, which is a 2.5mm, I think. It's still a bit tight. The idea is you have a compression damping and a rebound damping, and you set them initially, I think, 3 turns out, and then adjust them on the road for compression and rebound, and I am told that they work very well. So we will do that. And the other thing I need to do, of course, is to take, once I've got the pinch bolts in and everything, is to take the nuts off again and fill the, well, not fill, but put the required amount of oil in each fork. So now I think I can release the pinch bolt and slide that fork leg out. We shall see. Having released the pinch bolt and using the fork top nut with a high mallet and a gentle tap, I was able to break the taper, and then the fork leg came straight out. I took off the various bits of old gaiter, and I put the new one on. We'll see how long this one lasts. I will use the 303 protectant spray to try to protect it against UV. It says ultimate UV on it. So I've now fitted the fork leg back in with the new gaiter and of course the 2 clips. Put the top clip on. Put the master cylinder back on, and of course it had been sort of down here and the brake fluid had leaked out from the piston a little bit, so I had to pump it back up, but we've now got a reasonable brake. So the idea now is to tighten up the top nut and draw the fork leg back up through the tube into the taper so that it's tight, and then tighten down the pinch bolt. So we'll do that now. Having put the bolt back in, I realised of course that you've got to have the bev counter in this case, mounting in there, because there is a specific gap for that. So I've put that in, juggled it a bit, got that on. Ideally, of course, you need the wheel in to actually be able to bounce it up and down, and bounce the forks up and down, and to make sure that the taper's seated and that this top nut is tight. And then I can do up the pinch bolt, but I'll do the other side first, and then at some point we're going to have to warm up the bottom rubber so that we can get it over the stops here, and then I can put the clamp on. So, progressing. I have fitted the axle and tightened up the nut, and then tightened up the pinch bolt, so the bike is relatively stable. And then I've taken the prop out from under the engine so I can move the bike around a little bit. I am actually in the process of fitting the gaiters, and that's a relatively simple process, but you really need 3 hands. What I have got is a hot air gun, and I'm going to gently warm the bottom of the gaiter up, so that, because it's quite a narrow gap and it has to fit quite a large boss. This is on low mode. And we need to get it warm all the way around. Doesn't have to be too hot, but does have to be warm enough. It's just warm. Needs to be hot enough, I think, so that you can still touch it, because you obviously need to. But not so much that it actually burns. Yeah, that way. You can always come back and warm up again. Now, what I try and do is to use a pair of mole grips as an anchor point at around the back-ish. There we go. It's a bit like doing a tyre. Once you've got it sort of on, you then just have to hold it on. This is why you want a thin screwdriver, so it goes over easily, or goes under easily. We made it. Yes. So once it's on, we quickly get the clamp on. So that it can't escape off. So on these gaiters there's a slight step at the bottom, and I want to get the clamp above that step. Need to tighten that top clip up a bit. There we go. Alright, okay, so both gaiters are on. I need to apply the UV protectant to it to make sure that they hopefully will stay alright. Let's tidy up a bit. I can put the caliper on, and I can put the mudguard on now because you obviously need access around the back. So that's why I kept the mudguard off until this point. The caliper is held on by an aluminium bracket with two metric bolts that fit into the threads in the oh no, they're imperial threads that fit into the the fork leg. These tighten up quite tight, and then there are lock nuts that go on the back. Excuse me a minute. So the two bolts are in, and we need to tighten those up, and then obviously the two lock nuts at the back. Okay, so with the caliper bracket now tight, I can now fit the caliper itself. Of course, I pushed the pistons out. I'll be back. With the pistons opened out, I can now fit the caliper, and that again has two bolts which actually screw into the caliper. And do up. I will need a metric Allen key for that. So I now can do up the two bolts. Hold the caliper on, and then hopefully I'll be able to bounce the forks and do up the pinch bolts at the top. Having bounced the front forks, I can now do up the pinch bolts. Top nut first, both sides, and then the pinch bolts. Cool, I did undo these a long way. Yeah. Alright, so both sides now done up. I can now fit the mudguard. The four bolts are 7/16. relatively easy to get to, not like some mudguards I've had a hassle with. This mudguard, of course, is an aftermarket unit. It came from Holland, and it doesn't have extra stays. The advantage of that, of course, is you don't run into an issue with the stay getting in the way, or the caliper getting in the way of the stay, where you end up then with cranked stays and such like. This I thought would do the job. Nip these up with a spanner. I noticed while working on the bike that the mudguard mount had come loose, so we will have a go at tightening that. The cover is held on with 3 Phillips screws. That came off, and we have a clamp that could be tightened up. Let's have a look. There is a bolt that actually has a screw hole milled into it, or machined into it, to take the screw from the cover, with a bolt at the back. And this one actually has a spacer, which I probably fitted. I think I might clean that up a little bit and put some paint on it to stop it rusting. I've had bikes rust out before at this point. I have put a piece of rubber under the strap, so that is now solidly fixed, and next I'm going to put the shroud, the grommet's coming off. I have pulled out the Norton from the Dynamium garage outside and put the Trident inside. That was a slight issue. So I have put the exhausts on, checked over everything that I'm reasonably happy with, put the tank on, put some fuel in the tank, and we'll see if we can make it start. Interested about yeah, idea. Interested. Okay. Ignition is on. We'll do the top off. week's over. It needs setting up, obviously, but I'm quite pleased with that. It did start very quickly, and doing the old shaking about a bit. That's very good. I have oil returned, so I'm quite pleased with that. Well, so far so good. Putting it into first gear, there wasn't the clunking sound, which was good. Still need quite a lot of sorting out. The carbs definitely need sorting. Well, I hope it's the carbs. So we will get on with that. The petrol tap on this side is not flowing any petrol at all, so we will look into that as well. As I say, it's coughing and banging when you're trying to open the throttle gently. Oil is returning. It goes in and out of gear. All in all, I think a successful bit of progress so far. Next, obviously, I need to buy some exhaust seals. There's none in there at the moment, which is why the exhausts are rattling like a good one, and sort out the carbs, use the carb tune probably, and move on from that. As I say, I mean, this is outside now, and the Trident is back in the Dynavim garage, ready for me to take the oil pump out and look to see what was going on there, hopefully. Yeah, I think I'll wrap this up here and see what you guys come back with. Thanks.